I find it hard to believe that there could be a better watch for the money than the Casio Duro when you're looking at a watch that's basically $50 American, right? This has got to be the most versatile and adaptable watch that you can buy for 50 bucks. There's no way anything else competes. There really isn't. You get so much watch for the money when it comes to the Casio Duro, and it's the reason why this model has been around for quite some time now. And I don't think Casio has any plans to let it go. This watch can be paired with practically anything. It all comes down to your strap options. Now here I've got it on a green FKM rubber strap, which makes it a bit sporty. And of course, this watch is sporty, right? You're talking about a 120 click bezel with 200 meters of water resistance. So obviously, unless you're a truly professional diver planning on going deep diving, this will serve your needs. It's got lume. It's not the greatest, but it's got it. It's got a date display, right? And on this gilt colorway, right? When you match it with the stainless steel, you put this on a leather strap and you can wear it out to a nice dinner. You could pair it with a tux even. That's how versatile this watch is. The only maybe knock on it is the size, right? Because you're looking at a 44 millimeter case, and that scares off a lot of people, but this is one of two 44 millimeter watches I own. The other is currently on my wrist. And I have a 7¼ inch wrist. It's relatively a flat wrist, right? So it can handle a slightly larger watch, but 44 millimeter case size looks fantastic on me. Now, when you're talking about a watch that's $50, obviously you're going to have, a few concessions made by Casio in order to keep it under that price, but there really aren't that many. So the most obvious one to me, of course, would be, the polishing on the case, right? As stainless steel polished cases go, this one's okay, right? You don't have much transition between polish and brush surfaces here. I mean, there is, but it doesn't really stand out, right? You've got the chamfer here that's polished somewhat. Okay, they don't have a signed crown, but for 50 bucks, honestly, who cares? You do get crown guards, which, whether you like them or not, that's a personal preference. So I've had a lot of you ask me to start adding the actual watch sizes to some of my videos, so I'm going to start doing that now. Okay, it wasn't really something I had planned on doing in the beginning, but you asked for it, so you're going to get it. So the Casio Duro has your 44 millimeter case size. The strap, I got 21.9, so 22 millimeters. The case thickness is 12.1 millimeters, 12.1. Again, not very thick, of course, it's quartz. And then the lug to lug, these are always a little harder to get bang on. 49.3. Okay, so for the most part, this wears pretty well on my wrist. I got a 7¼ inch wrist, and although 44 millimeters might be considered large by a lot of you, for me, it actually fits pretty damn well. So I can't complain. And honestly, it doesn't really look that big in this particular colorway, in almost any of the colorways, because there is a sizable bezel on here, so the watch face itself looks a little bit smaller, which gives it the appearance of being smaller on the wrist. The face is about as basic as can be, although it does have a little bit of a sunburst effect, not that much of one. You don't get a color match date wheel, but in some cases it's preferable to have the white background because it just adds contrast to the numbers and makes it a little more legible, right? There are certain places where they've had to cut corners on this, but these are not the kind of corners that are going to bother you. Now, for some of you, the big deal breaker here is the fact that it's quartz, but it's 50 bucks, right? It's $50. And for those of you that follow my channel and followed my previous channel, you're going to know that I maintain a 6-watch collection, right? I have 6 watches in my watch box. That's it. If I decide to add an additional watch, I'm going to have to sell one of those watches to maintain the 6. And at one point, when I decided to do this, I had between 12 and 15 watches at the time. I decided to pare down to 6. And this was one of the original 12 or 15 watches I had, and it's the only one that's left in the watch box. It's the one that I've kept the longest. The other 5 watches I have in my watch box are all newer than this. And the reason this one's managed to stay is 2 specific factors. The first of which, does it really make sense to sell a watch that you can buy for 50 bucks brand new on the secondary market? It doesn't. If I ever decide to get rid of this watch, I'm going to give it away. It's not going to be something I sell. And then secondly, it's nice to have a watch that can be used in practically any situation that you don't mind roughing up a bit. That's the biggest reason why this watch is still in the box, is because I've taken this watch practically everywhere. It's one of the watches guaranteed to go with me on vacation. You'll know that we cover travel as well on this channel, and when I'm choosing to say 3 watches to go with me somewhere, this always ends up being one of them, because it's a watch that if I'm going somewhere sketchy and there's the possibility of someone wanting to steal a watch of mine, they can go ahead and steal this and it's not going to ruin my day. If I'm going somewhere where I'm going to be doing a little bit of diving, I do scuba dive. I am a PADI certified diver. I snorkel as well. It's a watch that I'll take diving with me and not think twice about, right? If I'm going rock climbing or something adventurous like that, again, if I scratch up this case, it does not bother me. And for the fact that I've used this watch practically everywhere, the case has very few scratches on it, like very few. You have to look very close to see some of these little scratch marks. So it's maintained its appeal and its luster quite well over many, many years. So I can't really complain whatsoever about this watch. It's so versatile, it's so useful, it's a watch I don't mind beating up, and it can do practically everything. Do you think there's a better watch out there for 50 bucks? If you do, let me know in the comments, I'll check it out. But I think this watch is practically impossible to beat. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. We rebranded as Why We Buy It. It's my wife, Amy, and myself now. We're going to cover a little bit of everything, but watches will be a constant on this channel because I'm a watch enthusiast, and so will travel because we absolutely love to do it. Be sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, and tune in to our next video. Until next time.